Frowen raced back to the library Mr. F called home. The older man was there, waiting patiently for the out-of-breath young man. The older man smiled softly and patted Frowen's shoulder. "I am sorry to burden you with this task. I had hoped there would be more time, so I could discuss it with you and other youth from your learning group." Frowen gave a small nod and a sigh. "So, this is like a weapon?" he asked, tapping it gently, getting a soft clink like tapping against clear plastic. Mr. F giving a small shake of his head. No, weapon is too simple. It can make you weapons, but the primary function is granting you suits that enhance or give you abilities based on the hero you use. Frowen pulled out the 3 cards he'd found earlier. "These things? I don't recognize any of these heroes, though. What do they do?" Mr. Fallon smiled as he held up the 3 cards, running his fingers over the back of the cards. "I color coordinated them, though there will in the future be heroes of the same color that do different things. I boiled it down to something simple. Blue is magic." He handed back Morgan Le Fay to Frowen. "Red, might. Heracles." He handed the red-backed card to Frowen. "Finally, yellow for speed. Karna." He handed the card back to his student again, Frowen now holding all 3. Wait, back up. Magic is real?" Frowen said, looking down at Morgan's card. Mr. Fallon started to laugh almost hysterically at the question. Sorry, I know you're being serious. It just vexes me no one's figured it out yet. You have crystals that rearrange matter in the air to be whatever you want, just by electrical instruction. What do you call that? Matter manipulating phenomena. It's like scientists are afraid of the word magic." Frowen wanted to object, but the more he thought about it, the more he realized how little he and his people knew about the hearts. "See? You see it now, don't you? The explanations are vague excuses wrapped in big words that mean practically nothing." Mr. Fallon grinned triumphantly as realization crossed Frowen's face. "Alright, so magic is a thing. I guess that's relatively small compared to the rest of what you've told me today. Wait, can we go back to the cities in danger part?" Mr. Fallon nods, rubbing his chin in a manner unfamiliar to Frowen. "Yes, well, I was working on a way to know what the danger is, but it seems something is going to happen today, which is a bit sooner than anticipated, if the danger is what I think it is." Frowen was really hoping he had a more than a "I don't know" for him, heart beating in his throat for what felt like the 20th time today. "However, I have my suspicions, and if it is who I think, we'll know soon, because they won't be subtle." As if on cue, the 2 heard a massive towards the southern gate of the city. "Ah, well, let's get going then." Frowen gulped at his teacher's nonchalant attitude. "Hold on, you said the device chose me to fight whatever just made that sound. You're not seriously gonna just shove me into battle?" Frowen said, struggling to keep up with the faster than usual older man. "I said let's, as in let us. I'm not making you do your first battle alone. I'm not gonna hold your hand, though. I expect you to take down the small fry, at least." Frowen's confusion replaced his fear as he continued trying to catch up with his teacher. "Small fry? How do you know there will be small fry?" "Yes," springing to keep up now. "There's always small fry. There will be one big obvious creature, then it'll call for backup, and suddenly a small army will come running forward like they were somehow there the whole time." Mr. Frowen passed a small silver and blue box over his shoulder to Frowen. "Put the cards in that and put it on your wrist. It'll keep you from having to fumble around for them." Frowen nodded, finding a small strap popped out of the bottom of the small box when the small box made contact with his wrist. "Wait, why did the Chestovite need to stab me, but this thing just needs a strap?" Frowen asked as he slides the 3 cards into the small silver box. That's a lot of genetic mumbo-jumbo. Let's just say you wouldn't be as powerful if it wasn't in you, and leave it there." Frowen really didn't like how vague everything felt, but did as instructed, the 3 cards seemingly disappearing into the wrist-mounted device. The watch he had grown accustomed to over his life beeped from his other wrist. Cards registered. Verbal recall required. Frowen frowned at this message. Verbal recall? Wait, I have to say those names you mentioned to get them out of the box? Correct. This way no one can steal the cards from you, Mr. Faldum said nonchalantly. Frowen mentally stumbled at the words. Wait, steal? As in other people know how to use these cards? Did this teacher always carry his cane like a weapon? Not in the same manner, but the monster you're about to see was created using cards like yours. And I assure you, it's small potatoes compared to what they'd make with the cards you have. Mr. Fallon seemed very familiar with whoever he believed this foe to be, and despite having numerous more questions, all attempts to make them known caught in his throat, as another explosion shook the street, and a large creature with purple fur and a black metal arm and legs emerged from the smoke created by the explosion. The tiger-tank hybrid laughed as she spotted Frowen and his teacher. Her cackling sounded like the screeching of cat claws on a metal surface. Found him! You fool, you live! Gone! Come to save your precious city again? The age of knights is over! She sneered as she yelled out at the older man, completely ignoring Frowen. Well, I don't know about that. From where I'm standing, history seems to enjoy repeating itself, Mr. Faldum called back, twisting the unfamiliar reptilian head atop his cane. A metallic ringing sound echoed out as he brought the saber hidden within the cane out. Frowen noticed a faint purple glow over Faldum's heart, his long sleeves also showing a purple and electric box under them. We've learned since last time, old man. Have you? Sigma Squad, fall in! Attack! Coming from the corners and other hiding spots, the gray and navy blue underlings emerged, surrounding Frowen and Mr. Faldum. Frowen, I recommend Heracles for this situation. I'll keep her busy. Use small fry to get used to your new abilities, and then come assist me. Mr. F talked in a gravely serious tone as he took a fighting stance. Dragon Knight, he said simply, a card jumping from the box on his wrist. He caught the card in 2 fingers and swiped it across his chest, putting it back into the box in one clean motion. The Eternal Crusader! Dragon Knight, strike through invaders! A voice rang out solidly, and in a flash of electrum and purple light, Mr. F stood in a tall suit of armor. The helmet had see-through plastic in place of a metal visor, pieces of metal branching off the helmet into horns. A cape split down the middle and leathery, resembling wings, spread out behind him. The armor itself was mostly purple with electrum lining. Where the device Frowen himself would be was an insignia of a dragon, a large reptile with 4 clawed legs and a gigantic wingspan. The armor had a scaled texture, but was still slim, giving the teacher the look of an automaton rather than a knight. With a simple kick of his hind leg, Mr. F flew across the battlefield at the feline monster and delivered a slash across her chest, making her roar in pain. Okay, he certainly made it look easy, Frowen gulped, looking at the gray-suited figures, who were standing in stunned silence at the sheer speed of the old man. Heracles! Heracles! Frowen called hurriedly, realizing that this moment was likely his only chance to transform himself. Pushing back how insanely surreal this all felt, he reached to grab the red car as it flew out from his wrist. He swiped it over the metallic device that rested coldly against his chest, and immediately felt a warmth surge out of it. Not painful, but certainly unpleasant, like stepping into bath acid you hadn't gotten used to yet. The laborer of Hera! Heracles, definer of an era! The more feminine voice rang out from his chest as the device's red glow showed under his clothing. The glow spread rapidly till it covered his entirety. As some of the troops saw what he was trying to do, they found themselves unable to approach from the sheer heat coming off him. some of the metallic road under his feet turning red hot.
Frowen soon found himself in armor of his own. The armor was bright red and much more form-fitting, with pauldrons of gold held by seemingly leather straps on his shoulders. Above the seemingly black visor, the helmet appeared like a lion's head, the dark brown lion design leading down to a dark brown furred cape. Whoa, this is amazing! I feel so strong! Roland clenched his fists, feeling muscles that weren't there seconds before. With the heat wave over some of the suited figures rushed at him. Using his hand-to-hand training, Frowen ducked under the first one's punch and slammed his fist into the gut of the suited figure. All Frowen heard was a loud pop, like an acid balloon bursting as clear liquid sprayed all over the figures behind the ones he punched. By the heart! I see why Mr. Feldham called you small fry now. Frowen marveled at the destruction by a single punch for a bit too long, getting kicked in the back by two of the figures. He cried out in pain as he was sent flying into a wall, the metal of said wall buckling from the force. Okay, got it. Just 'cause they can't take a hit doesn't mean they can't give one. Frowen groaned using a hand to shove himself out of the wall, stumbling a bit as he landed on his feet. Winding back his fists, he slammed them into the closest two, the two behind them standing so close that his fist went through the first two and popped the second two. Frowen couldn't hold back a cheer at getting two more targets than he had meant to. Frowen had to duck and block more punches and kicks from the creatures, getting overwhelmed by their numbers as a few kicks and punches knocked him to the floor with a groan. Frowen forces himself back to his feet, the armor somehow undamaged from scraping against the metal road. Frowen charged forward, shoulder slamming a line through the group of small humanoid monsters with a roar. Meanwhile, the woman with blue and pink hair looks at a hologram of the city, a green dot moving through the streets with ease, as she and the with the ease she and the red-haired man expected. Come on, where is he? Our intelligence didn't tell us he left the city. He should be getting in her way. The man grumbled, face taut, as he watched. As if on cue, the green dot stopped. Then a red dot appeared a few blocks away. Yes, yes, yes! Pull the drones in! The woman called to one of the navy-suited figures, which quickly nodded, the hologram switching to a live feed, allowing the two to see and hear Mr. Feldham and their creature taunting each other. Wait, who's the wimp next to him? The man asks, pointing, face contorting as he grits his teeth. The woman shared his worry as the small fry swarmed the two of them, the older turning into his dragonite form and leaving the younger as he slams into the tiger. Both of them went from worried to angry when they saw the boy pull out a card. He found himself a student, did he? A young one, too, the man mused as he watched the boy turn into the Hercules form. Seems like his first transformation, so he might still have time to take them both out. He sighs, leaning back into the metal chair. It looks like the tiger will be sacrificed. Sad. She seems to be holding the old man off decently well, the woman says, sitting next to her partner, hands on her knees as she leaned in to watch the young man in red fight the small fry. Ha! He's struggling with them. If the old man wasn't there, he'd be dead, she grinned sadistically. Mm. The old man has a habit of choosing fast learners. Remember when we were chosen? The man asked, a distant look on his gray face as he watched the boy improve as he fought the small fry. The woman's face also looked distant as she nodded at what he said. The training dummies nearly broke my ribs, she agrees with a soft chuckle. Within a week, though, we were begging for harder training, she sighs, eyes switching to the man in purple armor. How has he not slowed down? I ache everywhere from wounds sustained back then. The man shook his head. He'd be nearly dead one day, then the next he'd be saving our asses. He never made any sense. I swear he hasn't aged in 20 years either. He grits his teeth before pulling his shirt away, revealing a black, dormant device. You know what? Who says we have to just watch the first fight? He grabs 2 cards from the table under the hologram. We'll show that old man we haven't slouched either, he said determinedly. The woman chuckled, standing up and taking her card from her partner. You still have fire, don't you? All right, I suppose we can play our hand a bit heavily to show we mean business. She removes a black jacket, so it's just a thin blue shirt between the card and her device. She chuckled darkly as she held the dark pink card in her hand. The 6 queens, the card read simply. The man chuckled, holding his fire-red card up. I'll never let my fire go down, he chuckled, grinning wide. His card read, Mordred, the Black Knight. And that concludes Chapter 2.